Hi, this is Rukudzo, Honour.R out here in Frisco, Texas. I'm a licensed professional counselor here at Inside Fitness 360 Counseling and Life Coaching. And I just wanted to take this moment just to say hello to everybody and just to discuss, a few topics that have been coming up in the office prevalently, as and also just taking advantage of the fact that it's Mental Health Awareness Month. I know we are starting to exit the crisis phase of the COVID experience that we've all shared together as a world. And I don't even remember a time in my life where we all experienced the same thing at the same time. Because usually it's a crisis happened out here in the United States, the other half of the world can support us. But this has been unique. And therefore, we've been getting a lot of questions about the crisis and how people will manage. But the biggest question is why? Why did this happen? Why are we experiencing this? The best answer that I've ever gotten was that we do not choose the times that we live in, but what's up to us is what to do with those times. That answer just kind of showed me, even as I look back at history, that each generation has had different issues they've had to deal with. They've had different things they've had to process. Some calamities on different levels that impacted them. If we look at the Great Depression generation, they were impacted differently. They look at money and saving and life differently from people who lived also during the Second World War and people who lived during the First World War and people who lived during the AIDS crisis as well. We all have been shaped differently by crisis. So crises come to serve different purposes. And what I really wanted to just take time to really look at is the nature of a crisis. Because crisis comes to serve a purpose. The reason that it's been allowed to us, it's coming as a catalyst to effect change. Number one, a crisis is here to reset life. Because sometimes we're going on a certain course, and for some reason it might not be the best course for a generation. So a crisis comes to reset that course and to say, okay, course correction. We're gonna have to turn left over here and turn right over here. And if I look at our world pre this crisis over here, we were in a situation where hate, anger, and all these challenges that we're dealing with currently, and social media was not even really a pleasant state. There was a certain disregard for human welfare and human well-being. And now we were forced to get back to the state where we had to stop and assess things on a global perspective, individually and then collectively as a human race. And even if we look at our personal lives, a lot of us have been running, doing this business here, dropping this child here, going to work, fighting traffic and doing this. All that stopped, and we were forced to stop and to reset and to think about, okay, this was life as usual. What is life going to look like when life is not as usual? Was everything that I was doing serving me? So that's the one thing. The reset button was pressed. The next thing that the crisis comes, number two, is to clean up. A crisis, if we look at a storm, normally if those who've experienced hurricanes, unpleasant and terrifying experience. I'm in Texas, we deal with tornadoes. But when a hurricane comes, sometimes it's here to clean up the environment. It cleans up everything. Things that were not working, things that were not needed will be moved out of the way. The next morning, those who live and experience coastal weather, they will tell you that the air is cleaner, the water is brighter, the atmosphere is just more pleasant. I've actually seen that this crisis has cleaned up pollution, and we heard reports that the ozone hole was starting to repair itself. And even looking at the vegetation around me, it looked cleaner and it looked different. So it just came to clean up things that would mean, even if we look in our own lives, our relationships, our jobs, things were tightened up and things were shifted, and we were able to identify things that needed to be fixed, and we started to clean up the whole thing. So sometimes a crisis is here to clean up and make things look pretty clear and clean, and to identify what's working, what's not, what needs to be shifted, which direction do we need to move. But third and most important in relation to this cleaning, it exposes rot. I have seen big trees that we've admired, but when a storm comes through, it topples them over. And you look at side and say, this thing was beautiful on the outside, but on the inside, it looks like it was rotting all along. A lot of us are in relationships that may not be serving us, and this crisis was able to expose that. Some may have been in relationships or family things that needed to be changed, and areas where we needed to grow, or a job that was not serving us anymore, where we were miserable. This has given us the time to see that whatever we were doing is not working. Maybe you were the ones who were running around, trying from business to business, trying to figure out different things, work on this project here, shape this project here. That was not serving you anymore. So all the dysfunction, the things that were not working, even the fact that you've lost touch with your children, you've lost connections to what matters. And even the state of the human race was exposed, that we were becoming self-serving and that we were forgetting what the basics are, which is just the love for humanity. But a lot of things were exposed for what they were. And it gives us an opportunity to really look at the state of where we were. Even some of us, our health, we were just running, we hadn't rested. So all the rot, the things that was not working were exposed. And above all the rot, now that we've seen it's all cleaned up and the rot is better, we get an opportunity for change. Because storms and crisis brings an opportunity for change. Some of us have started to really think about, what do I need to work on in this next phase? I don't want to go back to life as usual. I do work with a lot of leadership, CEOs, CFOs, all these C-suite leaderships, and even political leaders, mayors of cities, and different level of city and political organizations. And what I'm starting to realize is we all starting to realize that nobody expected this to come. So what do we need to change? Where do we need to grow so that if a crisis like this comes back again, we'll be able to circumvent it or better manage it, or at all just to cope with it. So all these are conversations that are happening in the back. Even for my own personal business, I've had to start thinking, when this business comes back, when we reopen, what do we need to change? Where is our impact? What's working? What's not? How can we do disaster recovery? Maybe in your personal life, you've identified things that were causing you stress, things that were not working, different state of things that were not serving you anymore, or you were battling certain things that have just become apparent. Now is the time to look at change. And I know change is not easy. For a lot of us, change is a process. It's a chore in itself. But they say one thing that's set in life is change, death, and taxes. Those are three things that we know that we're going to experience sooner or later. So when we get a lot of that, when we get an opportunity to change, we have to approach it step by step and reassess. And if you're one who feels stuck, I would recommend get a life coach, get a professional counselor, or anybody who can support you and guide you through this process of change. And also, everybody needs to take time to realize what has happened. How has this affected me? Because everything that we go through affects us. You cannot just jump on life without assessing the damage that has happened, because every crisis shifts your foundation. It exposes those cracks. It exposes things. Life as normal has ended. We have to adjust to a new normal, and we have to move in that direction. So reassess your life, do some introspection. If you're like me, you're tired of introspecting, but at least I am clear on where I want to grow, what I want to change, and how I can improve my quality of life. And lastly, developing a new normal. It's always good to shift, because human beings are here to evolve. We are not to stay the same. A human being changes. The things that serve you at 10 or at 20 or at age 30 or at age 40. They change even at age 50. So this is a moment that we've got to change the new normal, to build strengths that you've never had before. And we've realized that we're resilient, that we can come out of this stronger than before. We can build on a stronger foundation. We can build on those things that we want to serve. We want to go ahead and become the better human beings that we want to be. We want to find out what it is that life is here to do, well, why we're here on this earth and what purpose we're here to serve. Build on the stronger you. As once again, it's not up to us to choose the times we live in, but what's up to us is what to do with these times that have been given to us. We've been given this brand new opportunity, this crisis that exposed certain things. It might be reinventing ourselves, becoming a different person, get a different job. All will work out. We are human beings. We are resilient. We have everything inside of us to overcome the times that we're in. So how are you going to utilize the times that have been given to you?